We'll put it on Mrs. Cole's card, like usual." That's what the maitre d' said, smiling, as if my name had been erased. I didn't even look at him. I was too busy staring at my daughter, Maya, in a silk dress I hadn't paid for, raising a $200 glass of Barbaresco across the table to Lucas's smug, grinning parents. Lobster tails, truffle risotto, designer handbags looped over the back of their chairs. A picture of wealth. A picture of theft. They hadn't seen me yet. But I'd seen enough. I took a deep breath, like I was steadying myself on a ship in a storm. I leaned in close to the Mazda da. "What time is it?" he checked. 8:51. That gave me 9 minutes. I stepped outside the bistro and pressed the number I'd saved 2 weeks ago. Mr. Alvarez picked up on the first ring. "Freeze the emergency card at 9 p.m., I said. Not a second before. He paused. "Mrs. Reed, are you absolutely?" "I'm sure." 9 minutes. That's all Maya and Lucas had left to pretend they were people who could afford their lifestyle. 9 minutes to toast their illusions on my dime. I didn't go back in right away. I stood just outside, watching them through the glass like strangers at a museum exhibit. They looked so polished, so proud, so sure I'd never notice. That card, my emergency card, was never meant for this. Not for champagne tastings or boutique clothes or shelling out for Lucas's parents like they were visiting heads of state. It was for real emergencies, rent, groceries. Maya knew that. Hell, she cried in my arms when I gave it to her after her father died. "You'll always have something," I told her. I just didn't know I would be the something. They were laughing now. Maya leaned over and kissed Lucas's cheek, like she hadn't lied to my face 3 days ago, and said they were tight this month and could I please cover the tax bill, just this once. I nearly did. Until the alert came in, one of many. I didn't storm in. I ordered a coffee at the corner table and waited, like I had been for months, quietly, alone, with the receipts piling up. At 9 o'clock, their world would change. No shouting. No meltdown. Just a silence they wouldn't be able to afford. Because this time, I'm not paying for the lie. They were laughing when the first charge came in. I could see it on Maya's face through the window. And just like that, the flashback hit me like a wave. I remembered carrying her to daycare that first morning. She was so small, one arm around my neck, the other clinging to my blouse, like she was holding on for dear life. "Mom," she whispered, breath hot against my ear. "Don't go." I'd kissed her temple and promised her, swore to her, I'll always be there. That promise lived in the miles I drove to get her to school when we had no gas money. It lived in the cold sandwiches I packed for myself so she could have hot lunch. It lived in the night shifts I picked up, in the shoes I didn't buy, in the clothes I hemmed instead of replaced. That promise grew roots in me. And now, that promise had been sold back to me by the daughter I raised in little monthly bites. Dinners, taxis, dress shops, quietly, thoughtlessly. She didn't ask me anymore. She just expected it. The emergency card was supposed to be a rope, a line I threw across the gap when she said she was drowning. But she turned it into a tap, one that never ran dry, one she never thanked me for. 3 weeks ago, she called crying because the oven broke. I sent money. The next day, she tagged a boutique in a photo, Maya's new favorite spot, and I saw the price tag still hanging from her sleeve. Last month, she told me she was too exhausted to cook. Lucas was traveling, work was too much. "Can you bring some of your lasagna?" So I did 3 trays, plus groceries for them. I watched her that night toss out the salad I'd made and order in sushi. They don't lie in big ways, just small, constant ones. White lies that stain over time. "It's just a dinner. It's only temporary. We'll pay you back." But they never do. And the truth is, I never asked them to. I wanted to believe Maya still needed me, still loved me, the way she did at 3, with her arms tight around my neck. But love doesn't drain your bank account and call it gratitude. Now I sat just beyond their table, watching the seconds pass on my phone. 8:56. This time, I'm the one letting go. and I'm not whispering anything when I do. 2 weeks ago, I sat at my kitchen table with a pot of coffee, 2 Advil, and every single monthly statement from the past year. I didn't do it out of paranoia. I did it because something had shifted, not overnight, but gradually, like a slow leak. 1,000 little excuses, 100 missed thank yous, and a charge at Barbaresco Bistro on a night they told me they were just staying in, so I started digging. I went line by line. Dates, merchants, amounts. Then I opened Maya's Instagram and started cross-referencing. Her stories were public, always had been. Maya loved an audience. July 16th, celebrating Lucas's promotion. 2 entrees, $126.49, charged to my card that same night. August 3rd, wine tasting day, $488 at Cielo Cellars, also me. August 21st, girls' spa day, $291.30, Lavender Ridge Spa. September 5th, our hearts and bellies are full, $232 at a farm-to-table place I couldn't pronounce. I printed them all, labeled them. Highlighted matching charges. By the time I was done, it totaled $4,208.36 over 60 days. Not mistakes, not emergencies. A lifestyle, neatly disguised as need. That's when I called Mr. Alvarez. I didn't want the card shut off yet. I wanted it documented, monitored, flagged for unauthorized use. She's my daughter, I told him. But this isn't right. He'd listened, carefully, respectfully. And when I emailed the receipts, I CC'd myself, twice. Tonight isn't about catching them. That part's done. Tonight is about timing. Because I know Maya. If I'd just confronted her in private, she would have cried, told me it was a mistake, claimed Lucas had used the card without asking, said they meant to pay me back, maybe even tossed in a memory to soften me. Remember the cinnamon rolls you used to make on snow days? I've heard all the tools in her kit, but she can't twist what happens in public. She can't pretend the card wasn't declined. She can't rewrite witnesses. She can't Instagram her way out of a dinner she didn't pay for. That's why I sat here calmly at 8:50, drinking lukewarm coffee. Not planning, waiting. The difference is everything. The last time I saw Lila, she was clearing tables during brunch rush with a towel slung over her shoulder and a smile that didn't fade, even when people snapped their fingers for her like she was invisible. That was back when I came here for eggs and coffee every Sunday after church, before I stopped feeling welcome at my daughter's table. Now it was almost 9 o'clock. And Lila was the one who saw me first. She spotted me by the far corner window, lifted one brow, then nodded. I didn't wave, just placed my hand lightly on the folder, sitting next to my purse, the quiet signal we'd agreed on. 2 days ago, I called ahead. I know this is strange, I told her, but I think my daughter's been using my card for more than a few dinners, and she's there tonight, isn't she? Lila didn't hesitate. I've seen them in here a lot lately, she said. Big orders, bigger attitude. That's when I asked her for something no one ever expects from a woman my age, the receipts. I'm not trying to embarrass anyone, I said. I just need the truth, on paper. She was quiet a moment. Then, come by before Friday. I'll have what you need. And she did. A stack of printouts in a plain envelope, all in Maya's name, all charged to Mrs. Eleanor Reed's card. Itemized, dated, tasting menus, paired wines. One night, they ordered a $14 side of grilled asparagus and didn't even finish it. Now, tonight, Lila walked past my table like she was checking the room, slipped a folded napkin beside my coffee cup, and kept walking. Inside it, manager on duty, witness present. I looked up and met her eyes across the room. She gave me the smallest, steadiest nod I've ever seen. That's the thing about people like Maya. They think the world runs on charm and convenience. They forget how many quiet women watch, serve, remember. They forget we talk. They forget we know. And sometimes, when the moment's right, we hand the truth to each other like folded napkins across a table. It would be easier to say this was just about the $4,200. That would make me sound bitter, maybe even petty. Old woman gets tired of footing the bill. Simple, digestible. But it isn't that simple. Money's just the receipt. What I'm really charging interest on is the disrespect, the slow erosion of boundaries. The way Maya's voice turned colder each time she asked for something. Like I owed it to her. Like she was doing me a favor by accepting my help. This dinner was never about getting paid back. It was about stopping the quiet theft of my future before it swallowed what's left of my peace. Maya doesn't know the truth yet, that my savings are thinner than they look. That I've had to dip into a retirement fund I once promised I wouldn't touch until I was really old. That if things kept going like this, I'd be out of options in 5 years. I didn't want to shame her. I wanted to warn her. But she doesn't hear warnings. Not until they sound like consequences. So I had to choose a different kind of voice. One she'd understand. One the room could hear. Not to humiliate her. Not to destroy her. Just to stop her. Because this isn't the kind of betrayal you yell about. This is the kind you address the way a surgeon cuts. Clean, direct, and with the full weight of understanding that if you don't remove the rot now, it spreads. Tonight has rules. No screaming, no scene, no tears if I can help it. I don't want to become the mother people film on their phones. I want to become the woman who makes people sit up straighter when she enters the room. That's why I called the bank. That's why I brought the folder. That's why I printed copies, not just for Maya, but for Mr. Alvarez and my lawyer. I won't just freeze a card. I'll protect the account. I won't just call her out. I'll cut her off, legally, emotionally, and clean, because I've made enough casseroles, I've said enough yeses, and I've swallowed enough quiet shame in the name of being the understanding one. From here on out, I'm not looking for gratitude. I'm enforcing boundaries. 8:58. I watched her thumb swipe across the screen, head tilted just slightly, lips pursed in concentration. The Maya pose. The one she uses when she's posting something she wants to look effortless but calculated. It showed up in my notifications seconds later. Nothing like a special night with the in-laws, #grateful, #family first, #Portland Bistro Life. There it was, a little video loop of their wine glasses clinking. Lobster. Laughter. The Cole parents smiling too wide. Lucas's hand resting on the small of her back like they were the stars of some prestige drama dinner scene. She didn't tag me, of course, because I wasn't invited, just included on the bill. But I still have family watching, and I've got my own kind of audience. So I opened the group text thread with my sister-in-law Mary Ann, one of the last people left who remembers who Maya used to be before the curated version took over. I typed, "Hope they enjoy the night. I paid enough for it," and hit send. I knew what would happen next. Mary Ann has never been good at secrets, and she loves a subtle jab. 10 minutes later, she liked Maya's post, then commented, "So sweet." And after Eleanor already paid for that event earlier today, busy woman, I saw it pop up under the video. Just a sentence, not rude, not loud, but Maya's smile in the next story, the one she filmed while laughing into Lucas's shoulder, looked a little tighter because she saw it. She always sees it. And for the first time tonight, she wasn't sure how much I knew. That's the beauty of precision. You don't need to yell. You just tap the glass, let it rattle. I went back to my coffee and took another sip. Still bitter, but satisfying, because this wasn't the explosion. This was the tremor before the shift. I don't need a crowd on my side. I just need her to start wondering if I'm still playing the role she cast me in, the quiet, grateful mother who should feel lucky to be included in the caption. She can post all the filters she wants, but the bill's coming, and she's holding the wrong card. Before 9 o'clock, everything was in place. The card, the documents, the people who'd remember. I hadn't come to catch her. I came to confirm what I already knew. 2 days earlier, I sat at my kitchen table and built the case. Receipts from Lila, bank statements, screenshots of Maya's posts, every detail lined up in rows like soldiers. I highlighted charges, boutiques, wine bars, weekend stays, then matched each one to her digital breadcrumb trail. I typed a short professional email to Mr. Alvarez. Subject: non-authorized charges. Freeze request, Mr. Alvarez. Please find documentation of unauthorized charges made on the emergency card. I am requesting a freeze to be placed at exactly 9 p.m. on Friday. I attached the receipts, labeled everything, blind copied my lawyer. Then I printed hard copies and tucked them into a plain envelope. That envelope sat in my purse now, untouched. Not for drama, just readiness. Tonight, I came early, ordered coffee, took a table near the wall, not hiding, observing. At 8:57, I placed my phone screen up on the table. Ringer off. I didn't need to touch it. The timing was already set. Maya still hadn't seen me. She was 3 tables away, leaning into Lucas, laughing at something his father said. She touched her napkin to the corner of her mouth like she was on camera. Probably was. She always liked having an audience. Well, now she had one. Lila passed my table casually, setting down a folded napkin beside my coffee. Inside, written in tight handwriting, "Marco and I will back your story. Time-stamped logs saved." I didn't look up, just nodded once. It's easy to assume that being older means being invisible. They think we don't know what things cost, how cards work, how to set a digital trail. But I've seen more betrayals at work and in family than Maya's had birthdays. They forget that quiet women remember, and that when the moment comes, we don't shout, we document. I took another sip of coffee. 2 minutes to go. The check hadn't been called yet, the smile hadn't cracked yet, but everything was in motion. And when the lights flickered, when the card failed, I wouldn't say a word. The evidence would do the talking. It was almost time. I reached into my purse, pretending to fish for my wallet, and brushed against my phone. The screen lit up automatically, and there it was. The old voicemail, still pinned to the top. I didn't mean to open it. I just tapped it out of habit. Maya's voice crackled to life. "I'll be okay, Mom. Don't worry. I just wanted to say thank you again for helping us with the rent. I know it's a lot. We'll pay you back when things are better. I promise." I remembered that day. She'd left the message after we sat on the floor of her empty living room, drinking tea out of mismatched mugs. Lucas had lost his job. They were 3 months behind on everything. Maya looked exhausted, hair in a knot, dark circles under her eyes. I brought groceries that week, paid the landlord, sent flowers to cheer her up. She cried when she hugged me. That was 5 years ago. Now I looked at her through the restaurant glass, draped in silk, fingers jeweled, smiling like she belonged to some life I'd never seen her earn. And suddenly, all I could picture was my kitchen, the late light, the same corner where her father used to stand peeling apples, his photo on the fridge, the envelope I once slipped into her coat pocket after she said, "We'll figure it out." I'd believed her promises. And now, I was watching her spend them. It wasn't the money. It was how fast she erased the struggle, how quickly I became background, an automatic deposit, a mother shaped like a safety net. I stared down at the table. The light from the pendant above me caught the edge of my teacup, casting a ripple across the folder. The silence hit deeper than the voicemail, because I realized I'd been holding on to that little message like it meant something, like it proved Maya still had a conscience. But all it proved was that she once knew how to sound sorry. I tucked the phone away and folded my hands in my lap. Across the room, the waiter approached their table with the check. 9 o'clock, right on time. The moment hung in the air like the last note of a song. I watched the waiter nod politely, slide the folio onto their table, and step back. Maya reached for it, all smiles. No hesitation, no guilt, just habit. She didn't even glance at the card before handing it over. I knew which one it was. My emergency card, gold-edged, still bearing my name, though the lettering had started to wear from use. Lucas leaned back in his chair, grinning at his parents like he was about to deliver a well-rehearsed finale. That's when my phone buzzed. "Maya? Mom? You coming?" My stomach dropped. For a split second, I panicked, thought maybe she'd seen me. Maybe she was about to leave, or worse, that the waiter would walk away with the check before the freeze fully hit. But then another notification rolled in, right behind it. Instagram Maya Cole posted a new story. I tapped it open with one hand, eyes still locked on the table across the room. She'd posted a photo of dessert, some flourless chocolate thing with spun sugar and edible flowers, captioned, "Perfect night, just perfect." She wasn't texting because she saw me. She was texting because she wanted me to see, to feel the exclusion, the pageantry, the invitation to a room I was never meant to step into. Not physically, not emotionally. That text wasn't a check-in. It was a performance cue, a reminder that I still lived on the outskirts of her curated life. And just like that, the panic faded, because she was still in the spotlight, still blind to the setup. 9:01. The waiter stood politely at the edge of their table, folio in hand. Maya took it with practiced ease, smiling up at him as if she owned the place. Without missing a beat, she reached into her clutch and pulled out the emergency card. My card. Her fingers moved without thought. This wasn't a moment of debate. It was muscle memory. She didn't even look at the name on it. Lucas, legs crossed, leaned back and winked at the waiter like he was in on the arrangement. His mother was already adjusting her scarf, grabbing her purse. His father waved for the valet. No one even blinked. Because this was routine, I could feel my heart beating behind my ribs. Not fast, not wild, just steady, like it had been waiting for this moment. The waiter stepped away with the card. Maya sipped the last of her wine. Across the room, I stirred the ice in my empty water glass and let my eyes drift casually toward the door, as if I might be getting ready to leave. Then I saw it. The waiter reappeared at their table, card in hand. Maya blinked, confused. He leaned in, quietly, too low for me to hear, but not too low for the table next to them. The older woman in pearls leaned ever so slightly toward the conversation. Then the waiter said something louder, clear enough to carry, but still professional. "I'm so sorry, ma'am, the card has been declined." The silence that followed wasn't loud. It was surgical. Maya froze. Lucas's eyebrows drew together. His father looked annoyed. His mother tilted her head. Not surprised, not outraged, just curious. Maya tried to laugh it off, but her voice caught mid-breath. She opened her clutch again, searching, not for another card, for a story. A lie she could use to patch the moment before it bled out onto the tablecloth. Lucas leaned in, whispering something to her. She shook her head. The waiter waited, hands folded neatly in front of him. The table next to them wasn't pretending not to listen anymore. And me? I reached into my purse, not for my card, for the envelope. The receipts rustled softly as I slid them out, one edge peeking over the flap. No shouting, no grand gesture. Just a quiet walk across the floor, truth in hand, as the illusion finally cracked. 9:02. The first decline cracked the surface. The second one shattered it. Maya tried again. Same card, same smile, this time tighter, like a thread pulled too far. The waiter stepped away briefly, ran the charge again. I watched the screen light up from across the room as he swiped it. Declined. He returned, voice lower now. I couldn't hear the exact words, but I didn't need to. Lucas's expression told the story. His smirk vanished, like someone flipped a switch. He sat upright, shoulders stiff. "It's probably the network," Maya mumbled, too loud, eyes darting toward her in-laws. "Or fraud protection. Sometimes it flags places like this." It was a line I'd used once, 6 years ago, when I'd forgotten to tell the bank I was traveling. Maya had remembered. She just didn't realize the fraud flag had come from me. Across the table, Lucas's mother exhaled, one hand frozen mid-reach for her purse. She wasn't amused. She was embarrassed. And I knew, in that quiet moment of still forks and unfinished wine, that the mask had dropped. They weren't sophisticated. They weren't hosting. They weren't the couple everyone should envy. They were caught. I stood slowly, picked up the envelope, and walked. Not rushed, not angry, just calm, clear, like I was delivering a receipt, which I was. A few heads turned. The table next to them stopped pretending altogether. When I reached their table, Maya finally looked up. Her mouth opened. No words came. I didn't need to speak. I placed the envelope on the white linen tablecloth, gently, then slid it toward her, lined up square with her plate. I tapped the top once, just enough for her to know. Read it. All of it. She reached for it with shaking fingers, pulling it open just as the waiter stepped back again. Would you like to use a different card? He asked, to no one in particular. Lucas fumbled for his wallet. His father looked away. His mother dabbed her mouth with her napkin, eyes flat and distant, as if she wasn't really surprised at all. I turned before Maya could look up again. Because there was nothing left to say, the receipts would speak louder than I ever could. Maya didn't open the envelope right away. She held it like it might burn her. Like some part of her still hoped it was a love note or a gift or some soft thing she could smile her way through. But then she opened it. Her eyes scanned the first page, then the second, and then her fingers started trembling. At the top, in plain black ink, I'd typed, non-authorized charges, $4,208.36, last 60 days, transactions under review, emergency card revoked, documentation on file, no bold, no red ink, no dramatic highlighter, just dates, locations, charges, and silence. Lucas leaned over to read, but Maya pulled the papers close, shielding them like a child caught cheating on a test. "Mom," she started, her voice cracking. But I didn't stop, didn't answer, didn't flinch. Because I wasn't here to discuss the evidence. I was here to deliver it, let them feel the weight of it. Page after page of indulgences they never earned. No emotion, just numbers. I saw Lucas's face shift, from confusion to something closer to calculation. His eyes jumped between the figures, his hand halfway to his jacket pocket. He was doing math. Damage control. That's when I knew. Maya hadn't acted alone. She'd made herself the face, but Lucas had been swiping right alongside her. They both drank the wine. They both took the weekend trips. And now they were both staring at a bill. A real one. Behind them, Lucas's parents sat frozen, not speaking, not interrupting. His mother gave me the smallest of nods. Not kind, not cruel, just acknowledgement. Maya tried one last reach. "Why are you doing this here?" she whispered, cheeks flushed. I looked her dead in the eye. "Because here," I said, "is where you spent it." Then I turned. One clean pivot. No drama. No lingering. The room didn't erupt. It didn't need to. The receipts had already done what I couldn't. Proved I'd been paying for a life I was never invited into. And now, the credit was gone. The truth sat on the table, and for once, they couldn't walk away from the bill. My phone buzzed in my hand. Mr. Alvarez. Text message, fraud report acknowledged. Card frozen at 9 o'clock as requested. Review pending. We've flagged the account and removed the authorized user. I didn't show her the screen. I didn't need to. Because she knew. She wasn't just cut off. She was named. "Maya," I said, still standing, "you're no longer on the account. The bank will follow up about restitution for the non-authorized charges. That part's not up to me." Her mouth fell open. She blinked, fast and furious, like she was searching the air for an exit. "This is insane," she whispered. "You don't do this to family." I tilted my head. "You don't use family," I said, "and you don't spend them." The silence around the table swelled. Maya gripped the folio like a lifeline. She looked to Lucas, to his parents, to anyone who might still see her as polished and perfect. But the room had shifted. Lucas's mother crossed her arms, lips pressed into a flat line. His father pulled out his wallet and dropped his card into the folio without a word. Even he wasn't going to cover her now. That's when I saw it. Not just anger, but fear. Not loud, not dramatic, just the first raw edges of someone realizing the act was over. She was alone on the stage, and no one was clapping. I turned to leave. Behind me, I heard it, faint, broken. "Mom? Wait, please." But I didn't turn back. Because I wasn't the one who walked away first. She was. I didn't stay to watch the fallout. I made it to the coat rack, took my time slipping each arm through the sleeves, and only glanced back once. That was all I needed. Maya was frozen mid-sentence, receipts spread out across her plate like broken glass. Lucas sat stiffly, arms crossed, while his parents looked away, like they didn't want to be associated with whatever she was saying, or whatever she'd become. But what struck me wasn't the silence, it was who broke it. From the corner of the room, a soft voice cut through. "Are you kidding, Maya?" Everyone turned. Lucas's younger sister, quiet as wallpaper until now, was standing just behind their table. I hadn't even seen her arrive. Slim, pale, dressed simply. Not flashy, not polished, but her voice was sharp. "I told you not to drag her into this again," she said. "You promised." Maya looked stunned. "Jess, what are you even?" Jess didn't let her finish. "I was at Mom's last month when you called Eleanor, asking about the broken oven. You were wearing new boots, drinking sparkling water like it was wine." She turned to Lucas. "And you told me you were working late while you two were in Cannon Beach." Jess's voice didn't rise. She wasn't performing. She was done. "I'm not covering for you," she said. "Not tonight. Not ever again." Lucas's mother said something then. I didn't catch the words, but it made Lucas flinch, and it made Maya fold in on herself like a napkin being cleared from the table. The next day, Marianne texted me the rest. Lucas's parents refused to cover the bill. Said if their son couldn't manage his marriage, they certainly weren't going to bankroll it. Jess offered to pay for her meal separately, then left. Maya and Lucas had to scramble. No backup card, no emergency fund. The bank wouldn't reverse the freeze, and Mr. Alvarez had flagged the charges for investigation. If they didn't pay, the vendors would be notified, including the hotel, the spa, the boutique with the faux leather trench she'd posed in like it was Prada. By Monday, Maya's Instagram was quiet. No stories, no photos. The silence said more than anything she could post. And I didn't feel triumphant. I felt clean. Because this wasn't revenge. It was the first time in years I'd let her feel the real cost of her choices without rushing in to cover the check. She thought family meant a safety net. But I was never the net. I was the spine. And I just stopped bending. I didn't press charges. Not for the dinner, not for the card. That would have given Maya a story to cry over. "My mother had me arrested," she'd say, and someone, somewhere, would believe her. No, I chose something sharper than court. I chose control. That Monday, I removed her from every remaining account. Not just the emergency card. All of it. She lost the backup login to the utility autopays. The just-in-case access to the rainy day CD. The forgotten line on the mortgage, where she'd once been listed for convenience. I called Mr. Alvarez personally and asked for all documentation. I wanted everything she'd charged, bundled, itemized, and noted as pending review. If she tried to spin it, she'd be facing not me, but a paper trail and a corporate fraud team with no reason to be sentimental. The final twist? I called 2 vendors, the boutique and the spa, and informed them the charges may be disputed. "I can't guarantee those charges will hold," I said politely. "You may want to collect from the user directly." The couple now had a choice: settle the bill out of pocket or let the vendors come after them. By Sunday, I'd heard from no one. No apology, no explanation, and that was fine. Because a week later, something better arrived. Not a text from Maya. A small card in the mail. From Lucas's grandmother. "I saw what you did. I'm sorry it came to this. But it needed to. We raised them softer than we should have. Your strength reminded me of what real family looks like." There was no check inside, no plea, just flowers from her garden pressed between 2 index cards. And it was more valuable than any reimbursement. Old Woman Narrator 23.08 Govarit. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. Do you think family loyalty should have limits, or does love excuse everything? Let us know in the comments and tell us where you're watching from.